Jonathan Taylor's got to make things really uncomfortable for them this year and continue to make it uncomfortable for them coming down the stretch here of training camp and everything else there. That's the only thing he can do. It is. I get back to almost like my pitch count theory that I talked about with Saquon Barkley, where he might have to do that and play hardball. Oh, no, coach, man, shoulder's sore. It's been 19 carries today. I only got one more carry. I know it's halfway through the third quarter, but I only got one more carry. My shoulder really hurts today. I don't know. That's where I don't get it. He is the focal point of the football team. He is a guy that, it's like we always talk about, these running backs, physical freaks, but with all the contact and things you've described so well, getting hit through the line of scrimmage, picking up blitzes and all that, they got a short period of time here to strike. They got to make it happen. And this is where I get into, I think they're going to have to play dirty and get it a little bit, out of the business ethics conversation, as they say.
But Chris,
I
think that's why
they can't do it.
Drop this turd into the punch bowl on Sunday about possibly moving him to NFI.
That's what I was saying yesterday, right? Yeah.
They're seeing what could be coming from Jonathan Taylor, so they're going to play hardball before he can play hardball. And this goes back to that I think not good advice J.C. Treader gave to the running backs that you should basically embellish an injury. I can't say fake injuries, but wink, wink, nod, nod, ha, ha. And because that's going to put all teams on guard when they've got a running back that may be unhappy. Hey, is this guy really unable to play? Is he really at the point where he needs to come out? Or is this just part of his way of pushing back against us and playing hardball with us? And at some point, if you get this back and forth, hardball this and hardball that, the next thing you have is a Terrell Owens situation from 2005 with the Eagles, where eventually the guy gets suspended for conduct detrimental to the team. I mean, that's how this plays out. If you just keep going back and forth, hardball one way, hardball the other way, and guys are having their character questioned, and maybe guys are doing questionable things that would allow the team to suggest that maybe they're really not giving it their all. It's a bad road for both sides to start down. And that's where I think they're hoping, from Jonathan Taylor's perspective, Chris Ballard reverts to, we want guys who want to be here, because it can go off the rails if you have a star player that doesn't want to be there and you force him to be there when he doesn't want to be. Yeah, but at the same time, I know they want, they want volunteers, not hostages and all that, but what does that mean? I mean, do you think that it increases chances of being traded? That's not good. This is where this is where it's effed up, the whole conversation. And it's not even the Colts I'm talking about here, but one, they're not going to trade him from anything because they know, oh no, this is the kind of guy that could go somewhere and rush for 1,800 yards and make us look silly, right? So they're not going to do that right now. And they're not, most likely, barring like a crazy injury around the NFL, not going to get anything that they look at as valuable enough to make that trade happen, let alone, like we talked about, the other thing that he's crushed with, and we hit this yesterday, is, a lot of teams got money and their contracts already figured out, right? They don't have money allotted to, oh, wait, now we got a headache with a running back who wants money, and we got to figure all that out. So that's where I'm intrigued or interested, or I don't know where this goes in this whole combo. Right now, if the Colts said, okay, fine, Jonathan, you go out and they do a Deshaun Watson thing. You find team 1, 2, 3, or 4 of them that is willing to come to the table and try to persuade you to go play for them. We have a minimum requirement of a trade package like the Texans did with Watson. And then, they can bid against each other or whatever. They'll figure it out. I don't know how many teams are coming to the table. How many teams are coming to the table with anything close to what the Colts would want?
Right.
And anything close to what Taylor would want. That's why we keep harping on the idea this should have happened in March, before the budgets are burned through, before the depth charts are set, before the plans are made. And, I mean, really, think about it. Run in your brain through the 32 teams. Who right now would say, we're in for a second-round pick that maybe becomes a first-round pick based on performance this year, and a contract worth 13, 14, 15, 16 million a year. Yeah, we're just going to go find that money now, even though we already have our players lined up for this year and contracts locked in factored into the cap this year, next year, the year after. Yeah, we're just going to jam another guy into that on the fly that we had no idea was going to be available. I just don't think there's a team out there that would even begin to do it for what the Colts would want,
exactly,
and what Taylor would want. I mean, if you can name your price as a team, you'd be like, hell yeah, we'll take Jonathan Taylor.
Right.
But it ain't that simple.
No, exactly.
You take him at his $4.3 million salary plus the ability to tag him next year and the year after, but that's not what you're getting him for. You're getting him for what he wants, and I don't think anybody at this point of the year is going to be in a position to pay him what he wants. That's why he's kind of in checkmate on this board before the game even starts.
Right, and it is. It kind of is. Seems like checkmate. It does. And again, I don't know where he can go from here. He's in a tough spot. He really is. There's no doubt about it. And that's where, again, let me throw this out there. If you're the Colts, right, and you go, wait, we still think this guy's got a year or two after this left really good, would you consider, do you think Jonathan Taylor would take a maybe, oh, hey, here's a contract, a pretty good signing bonus. Yeah, it's not a $14 million a year average. In fact, it's just a little chunk of money you're going to get right now, and it's going to help, maybe we'll get an extra year on the contract and spread out the blow of what how it hits us in the salary cap. Do you think a running back like Jonathan Taylor would take something like that? I'm just throwing it out there for food for thought or talking points here.
Well, it all falls back to the rights that the teams have under the collective bargaining agreement. And we know that the Colts have the right to tag Jonathan Taylor for 2024 and 2025. By 26, it becomes quarterback money, and no team is going to pay a running back quarterback money, so they can tag him twice as a practical matter. So I think the most the Colts would do at this point is sign him to a contract now that guarantees him this year's pay, next year's tag, and the 20% raise that he'll be entitled to over next year's tag. Now, we don't know what next year's tag is yet. It depends on the salary cap. But that's the most they would do. Why would they do any more than that?
No,
and even
I
that
agree
is
with
what
that.
They have to do. Right now, they have the luxury of year to year. If you're going to take on the injury risk for 3 years of a player, the last player you're taking the injury risk for 3 years for is a running back.
No, I know.
Because he's the guy most likely to get injured.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Look at what Saquon Barkley ultimately had to do.
Right.
He didn't like it. We didn't like it. Nobody liked it other than the Giants because the CBA allowed them to do what they did. They squat on his rights for $10.1 million, and at the end of the day, he gets a little sweetener. He's got to have a pretty damn good year to get any of the sugar from this sweetener, but he's still basically playing for $10.1 million, the franchise tag number, which has gone down over the past few years because the market's gone down, and that's just what it is. That's the broader deal that all running backs are caught up in. That's why I keep coming back to this basic premise. When you are emerging as a stellar young athlete and you're so dominant relative to your peers that it looks like you may have a career beyond high school and beyond college, quit playing running back ASAP, because that's not where the money's going to be, and that's not where you're going to have a long career in the NFL.
No, that's the truth, and I think we are slowly but surely seeing that trend happen in front of us. But Mike, I'm with you there. If I'm the Colts, of course I don't. Now, with that same formula, I'm saying if they offered him less than the franchise for next year and the franchise after that, right? Do you think he would take it? That's where I'm saying some of these running backs at some point are going to have to go, wait, I just got to take what I can get. That's what I was trying to throw out there for food for thought. If you're the Colts, I'm with you. You don't do anything more than that. I'm saying if you're the Colts, if you offered less than that, with the state of the running back market, one of these running backs is going to have to start to go, you know what, I just got to get mine right now and get it, and the hell with what I think the market should pay me and all that crap. And I just, I wonder if you dangle something out there like that in front of a Jonathan Taylor, would he take it?
And that's an argument we've made in the past, too. You put that offer on the table, and the player knows the risk that he experiences every single day. He knows it can all go away. And Jonathan Taylor right now would be vulnerable to that because he saw it last year.
Exactly.
You go from thinking that you're indestructible on the football field to missing 6 games with an ankle injury when you'd never had an injury before. Maybe he would be. Now, his agent may tell him not to do it, but there's always value when you're negotiating with somebody and one side's got the money and the other side doesn't. Boy, there's always value in putting some money out there and seeing what they do, because sometimes they will. They will jump. Sometimes they'll take the bird in the hand, even if it means getting less than they could have gotten down the road.
Yeah.
We've seen teams do that.
I look at like Trayvon Diggs and what he did with the Cowboys. It feels like it was that. It was like, whoa, you'll give me this right now? Okay, I'll take it. I think if he waited or held out a little on this, that price tag would have gone up. They offered him something now. He said, damn, I'm going to get that money in my pocket now. I'll deal with whatever the market is 3 years from now. And
the Cowboys have great flexibility under that deal. We broke it down over the weekend. It's 2 years, $17 million, and a little beyond that per year. And then after 2 years, the Cowboys can tear it up,
so
like they did with Amari Cooper.
Right.
Remember when Amari Cooper signed a 5-year, $100 million contract? Now, the Cowboys didn't tear it up, but they would have if they wouldn't have gotten a 6th-round pick from the Cleveland Browns, which means the Cowboys completely misread what was happening in the receiver market. But they were ready after 2 years and $40 million to rip up the final 3 and the remaining 60 on the $100 million. So they may do that to Trayvon Diggs in 2 years, or end up trading him for a low-round pick to another team that'll take up the rest of that contract.
Yeah.
So that is a real dynamic. And look, all this discussion, everything that's going on with Jonathan Taylor, it comes back to the point that I like to make from time to time. Football is business. At its core, football is business, especially for the teams.
Yeah, that's right.
Because for the teams that are around year after year, decade after decade, they do this all the time. There's going to be a Marshall Faulk, an Edgerrin James, a Jonathan Taylor. There's going to be another guy and another guy. And you have strategies and you have procedures and you've learned from experience what you should and shouldn't do. And the players are treated like commodities in that perspective. They are interchangeable parts on a giant football machine, and they ultimately will be removed and replaced with someone else. The question is when, where, and how. But they're viewed that way. So how cheap can we buy this part to our football machine? And I hate to put it that bluntly, but that's how they look at it.
Right.
We've got a bunch of different pieces on our football machine, and there's one specific piece that's pretty damn important, but it ain't that expensive. Why are we going to overpay for this piece that's pretty damn important, but it's not very expensive? Why are we going to pay that much for this piece that's running very well right now, but we know we can get another one without having to pay very much at all? That's what the mindset is. That's the disconnect between the human beings that play this very visceral, raw, emotional sport and the cold, calculating analytics of, oh, wait, we don't have to pay $15 million a year for that piece. We can go get another piece just like it.
I know.
Not platinum coated, but just as good, just as functional for 1/16 of that price. That's how they look at it. That's what they do. That's how these teams are constructed, folks. They don't want us to expose that to you because it takes away some of the allure of the sport when you view it totally as a business. But that's what they're doing. That's how it works. That's why these decisions are being made.
No, I'm with you there. You're right. I mean, it's a crazy thing about it. And that's where I think, the NFLPA and the next CBA is going to have to be something done there, maybe a little to help running back, protect them to a degree. But it's a tough one. And I totally understand the business side of it and the team side of it. It totally makes sense. Hey, the running backs, within their own selves, they kill their own arguments a lot of the time. Yeah, Austin Eckler wants, more money for the running backs. Yeah, but you're a prime example of why you don't. You were an undrafted starter. You can find another one, to Mike Florio's point, right? There you go. Oh, hey, there's Tony Pollard. Hey, he's franchise. Oh, we found him in the mid-round. That's right. Oh, wait, how about the top running backs in the sport right now and how they're being paid? Well, we paid Alvin Kamara, $16 million a year. Well, ever since they paid him, he hasn't been able to play or do anything. He's rushing for 400 yards a year. Hurts the running back's argument. Christian McCaffrey. Let's not forget and have such recent memory here. Everybody was saying that was a horrible contract. And oh my gosh, it was horrible. And he hasn't played or done anything. He got traded to one of the best teams in football. Could open up holes for him. And all of a sudden it's oh, what a great trade. That's great. Oh, look at Christian McCaffrey. Derrick Henry, top running back in football. Oh, foot injury, missed half the year. So, within arguing for themselves, there's baked in arguments against themselves right there that is just crazy. And it's crazy that the freakiest people on the football team can't get paid right now. But, you laid it out, and that's the way it is right now in the NFL.
Remember, the union and the league can come to any agreements they want at any time. They don't have to wait for the current CBA to end. And I've argued that the only way to get the NFL's attention would be for the running backs to organize and implement a mass boycott of off-season workouts in 2024. It won't be easy. It probably won't work. I doubt that it would work, but it's the only way to do it. That gets the NFL's attention. They create the Chris Sims running back fund based upon your performance, so you get more money as you go. If Jim Irsay's tweet from last week is indicative of the thinking of his peers, they're not going to even consider any of this until it's time to go back to the table roughly 8, 9, 10 years from now. So, Chris, here's the bottom line. By the time that this is back on the front burner to negotiate what they're going to do with running backs, that's more than enough time for all those kids out there to play a different position. Mm-hmm. That's the ultimate cure. Really. I mean, if you're going to ultimately be a piece in the football machine, you better find a way to make yourself a piece that is more rare and more valuable than the piece that is so valuable. That's the great disconnect. It's ridiculously valuable at youth football because you just give him the ball and off he goes. Nobody can touch him. Nobody can tackle him. He's the guy. He's the running back. And then in high school, hey, give him the ball. Off he goes. Hey, helps me stay in the job as the coach of the team. I keep giving the best athletes the football. And then he's a running back. And then he goes to college and he's a running back. At some point, you got to get off that ride. And you have about 10 years. For the young players out there now, you got about 8, 9, 10 years to get off that ride of running back and use those skills for something else. But even then, what percentage of those guys are going to make it to the NFL anyway? I mean, I hate to think that a bunch of great players who could have very rewarding high school and college careers give up playing running back also that they can play a different position in the NFL where they're never going to get there anyway. That's the other side of this. I hate to think that all the running backs are going to stop playing running back at every level of the sport because they think they're going to the NFL. Because we know that the percentage is very small, even for the great players out there that we see in high school and college.
I know we got another subject to hit on, but yeah, there's only one I know of.
We're going to take a break.
Okay, cool. Jabril Peppers, right? Jabril Peppers. Here, I'll throw that's one out that did that. Jabril Peppers was the best running back in New Jersey, right? And he made a conscious effort and decision during high school to go, no, I'm going to focus and play safety and be a secondary player and cornerback and do all of that. And he got away from running back because of the things you're talking about. He was smart enough to realize that he could have a longer career doing something else. And, yeah, I mean, not everybody's going to go to the NFL, but, certain guys do have a feel for like, wait, I'm freaky or I'm on a different level than the rest of these high school kids. Yeah, they might have to start thinking about that decision you're putting out there.
It's a business decision.
Yep.
No different than the business decisions the Colts and the other teams will make about you when you come to the NFL. Make your business decisions accordingly. Make them early. And if you've got the skills, if you're truly confident, it's not just delusion and all your friends and family telling you how great you are. If you truly have the skills to get to the NFL, it's in your best interest to get away from the running back position. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.